Alright, J. Patrick Morgan, wise man say, dude. And, this is Intermission Report number 1. You're getting 2 of them between, the seasons for the morning shows that, I announced to a limited amount of people would start back up, on Monday the 18th with the Grumpy Monday Morning Show. It'll be season 2, episode 1. It was kind of sudden, they announce all these different things on TV set to tell you, the season finale, or here's the debut or the pilot or the whatever of the new season. I don't do it like that. And I'm sure that probably annoys you if you're used to watching primetime TV and all that. So, this is an intermission report between the morning shows, and Wise Man Say Saturday night. That's put off for the same amount of time. You get the first one for that. On the 20th, Saturday the 23rd, I believe it, the 23rd Saturday. The intermission reports, I'll try to be entertaining because that's what a lot of you had expected out of me by general reputation and so on. But this is going out to a lot of people that have no clue. You're not part of the now 62,000. That's the big thing that's being talked about. 10 years ago, the count was 35,000, so it's almost doubled at 62,000, but that's worldwide. So thinking about getting close to 8 billion people in the world. That 62,000 is still not very much in that scope of things, but it's a huge jump, and that means that the efforts of using social media and blogging and email networks and all kinds of things on the image of the beast, which is the internet and the TV and all things, generated in mass communication. That's your image of the beast, and out of its mouth spews blasphemy. That would be part of another lesson. I'm not going to try to confuse anybody. If you're not in the 62,000, there's a lot of things, a lot of questions you would have, and I welcome those questions. I have all the time in the world for things like that anymore, versus some other things that I used to make time for that were a distraction from things that I really needed to do. Watchmen and women is a general term across the board. There's different organizations. They're humanitarian, or they're in some cases militia, because militia are there to protect when your right to practice your religion as you choose is being violated. That's one of the things the militia is going to jump in and say no way on. So you've got that. You've got traveling missionaries that go to disaster areas. It's most of that is Trenches for God, but now there's living Army of God. They're both. They go to help in disaster-stricken areas or neighborhoods that really need some turnaround. In some cases, rough neighborhoods, far here and far abroad. And Living Army of God is involved in the correspondence that they report to the council, biblical historians, and other people who are more or less doing tons of documenting of things in a historical sense. You know, they're recording what's going on now as history in its realism sense, not the hyper sensationalized news that you can go back and find a recording of. You know, that's a skewed version of history based on what political side the news is on. The writers of histories are the winners of wars. You know, they decide, after they won the war, they decide how the war was reported or recorded as history, despite what actually happened. We have, for the people that are new or not in it at all, these directives. No way are they like orders sent down from a ruler. They're like highly suggested things, like what I stated on Facebook eventually, what we did with the vaccine thing and the anti-vaccine thing long before coronavirus, long before that Disney measles outbreak. It was more around the same time that they did all that shakedown of Dr. Wakefield for just suggesting that maybe you should look at this MMR shot a little closer to see what else it might be causing or whatever, suggesting it, you know. It wasn't that he was blasting out. He turned in papers to the medical review board. He wasn't blasting it out to billions of people per se. What he did is there was a recommendation in his Lancet papers there that maybe we should be looking into some of the effects and the use of this particular MMR vaccine, and it's seemingly associated with autistic kids with major gut health problem, which he was a gastroenterologist. What he was testing was stuff that was going on with their gut. See, that's the thing, you know, they make it sound like he was just totally, psychically, insanely just coming against all vaccines and you know, no, they make it sound like that, but it's not the case. It was because he merely suggested that look at what maybe this MMR vaccine might be doing, you know, and that was a threat to corporation marketing and profits and stuff of the vaccine, and of course a threat to the whole concept that vaccines are 100% safe and effective, and so they go after the messenger. They shoot the messenger that said, hey, I found out that this indicates that there could be, and it should be looked into. They can't even handle that somebody said, hey, maybe you should look into this. You know, that's how sensitive they were about it. Okay, so I'm rambling about that. We've been through that before on Facebook things and all that. Okay, so I had mentioned in 3 different episodes in the morning shows that we should be discussing about how badly or how to what extent Watchmen are and women are under attack. Spiritual attack, physical world attack like verbal attacks and shunning, all the way up to literally beating the crap out of somebody because of a certain way they think. You know, real quickly, yeah, this was stopped and started. An important phone call came through. I was going to cut phone calls while videoing so I wouldn't be interrupted. Now I'm kind of glad I didn't, because there's something else to add to this. But yeah, okay, back to the what we were talking about. Watchmen under attack. All directions expected. Bible says to expect it. The Council of Biblical Historians has put out the directive to expect it. You're probably noticing already, because it's kind of already started. A lot of our trials right now are focused around that specifically. Those types of attacks, spiritual, physical, verbal, community directed, like exiling or shunning, or that kind of thing. All those attacks, and we're going to have to take more seriously some of the older directives that were put out. It's more important now than it used to be. So a father of lies is so good at it because he puts pieces of truth in there. He uses pieces of truth that you already know. He used the Bible in several cases against Jesus, but Jesus was too smart for that, and we have to be too smart for that. Whether you're under trenches for God, living army of God, just under a Watchmen and Women initiative of some sort, it's all in spiritualism, and this is for the people who aren't used to this and haven't been in this, or they just got into this and haven't, or have only gotten so far with it. We're being divided, and that's all quite obvious. And we've been there's a certain mindset that's been placed in us with a lot of TV watching. In this case, not talking to news, talking to entertainment. Entertainment over the years kind of placed society, mass people watching TV into a certain mindset to begin with. That mindset is already there. There's because of adventurism and hypersensationalism in that sense, we're competing for how bad we have it versus how well we've endured through it, and it's not supposed to be a competition for who's the most tortured under the will of God, or the most brave under the circumstances that God has placed them. There's a big focus on self instead of God, a focus on a favorite preacher or activist or woke or awakened person instead of God. We're not supposed to follow indirectly anymore. It suggested this day was come, that day is here. This is big part of the reason for this video, but it's not all of it. That day is here. We're not following anybody. That's the directive that we need to go with. It's not orders, directives. It's something highly suggested for the particular times that we're in, for what's going on. What if you decide to go against it, actually could be right, and they could be wrong, and then you'll have good consequences from it, or you could be wrong and them right, and you reap what you sow. It's all in who you choose to listen to. It's just it's a directive. It's not an order, and we're not, they don't use a coercion thing to go along with it to make you more want to follow it or anything like that. It's highly recommended suggestion. That's for the new people. That's how it works. Yeah, to adhere to the good advice of those people without following the person just because they gave you a couple pieces of advice, or because we're to admire them for the good works that they're doing in that sense, without the admiration putting so much weight that you're not going to step away if it becomes something wrong. The biblical context going behind that in this case is he was given the power to deceive even the very elect if possible. That means in certain people it's just absolutely not possible, but we really don't know which ones it's not possible versus possible. But yeah, he's that conniving. He knows how to do that thing. The devil will appeal to your what would Jesus do, and the truth as you know it biblically, to ultimately bait and switch you to follow a lie later on down the road. So we of course we listen to preachers when they're saying the right thing, but the Antichrist shall rise up into the church, and it will rise up in the church because he's been given the power to deceive even the very elect, and that means the appointed and anointed that are not preachers, priests, missionaries, in that sense. There's a lot of people that are anointed, and they're just in the person hierarchy view, they're just somebody in the congregation. They're not on the church council, they're not the pastor, they're not the treasurer, they're not anything, but they're appointed and anointed. They don't want to be followed or be put in that type of position because they know of the way of things coming, and like that. So they're appointing an anointing of them is total, not focused on self-glorification. I'm stepping away from that myself. The arrogance that you see in my morning shows and stuff, that's entertainment mixed with news discussion, and that's not really, that's acting more than anything else. I have put myself in the mindset and the focus where I can't glorify myself for any of it, even if it's my talent of entertainment that makes me a little popular somewhere regionally or amongst even a small crowd like you'd expect in a bar band performance. It's really, whatever level it gets, it's all the glory be to God, and I count all trials as blessings because they're to teach me something I need to know under His will. That's the whole concept of that taboo word that some people don't like, but it's it is what it is. It's called Christian spiritualism. You're not of a religion. Jesus hates a religion. God hates a religion. The Holy Spirit, of course, being with them as our guide, intuition, and moral compass, so to speak. They're all in agreement that they're not for a religion. The Pharisees were a religion. The Babylonians had their religion. That's he's not for religion. He's being spiritually minded. The spirituality is not anything in the context with New Age or it's just recognizing as above, so below. What happens in the spirit manifests in the physical, vice versa. Like that awakening to how much focus should be on the spirit concerning this, because people can be, without thinking about it, nudged by spirits to say certain things certain ways, and it's not them, it's the spirit nudging in them, so to speak. And in the spirit,